Well, hello once again, folks. This is another awesome episode of Customizing the Clone Wars, and this is episode number 40. As usual, I am your host for the evening, for the episode. My name is PeakOB1 from PeakOB1 Custom Creations on Facebook. And along with me, I can't do the show alone, I have Darth Daddy from Customs for the Kid. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to jump into Assassin. That'll be the episode that we're going to be covering tonight. It is an Ahsoka focused episode. We got Aura Singh showing up again, which, we find out that she has not passed on. She's still alive and kicking and ready to cause some trouble.
Yes, indeed. If you have been following along with us, folks, we are in Season 3, Secrets Revealed, and once again, this is a sequel to some of the other shows. And I think George Lucas is amazing, don't you? He did so many things to connect these episodes. This doesn't just connect to one specific episode, but many, right, from the past. Because they are all out of order, it's just cool that they have that connection, right?
Oh yeah, no, he did a wonderful job with this show.
Right, if you think about it, it connects to Lethal Trackdown, and it also connects to Hostage Crisis.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that is
yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be our
basically bridging the finales of Season 1 and Season 2.
Exactly, right. Yeah. What a genius that he can do those kinds of things, that he can make those kind of connections, because we all thought this was a little bit weird, this jumping around and everything. We don't really start to see it change until what, like the Mortis arc, would you say? Is that where we start to change? Change to the point where we're not really going to see any more flashback episodes. I think mid-season we're going to start to see just straight on
more continuity.
Yeah, more continuity. I think it was just the first portion of Season 3, Secrets Revealed, that shared these stories from the past, or that were connective tissue to other episodes. Don't you think?
Yeah. Do you think that had something to do with them just being able to do more as far as character backgrounds, and just an improvement essentially in the animated style, just the animation? Do you think that he went back, because they were able to do more with the show than they were when they first started, or do you think it was just more random?
I think it was a little bit of that, but I think it was also the fact that they had some episodes left over from the theatrical release, so they couldn't get them all in one season. Yeah. So what was the episode that was supposed to be in Season 1, yet it was in Season 2? Was it, is it Hidden Enemy? Is it with Slick? Or no, that is in Season 1. I don't know. I don't have my facts all straight right now, folks. But this is going to be essentially our new format. What we're going to be doing, since we heard that Netflix is leaving the Clone War, or getting rid of the Clone Wars on is it the 11th that they're getting rid of it?
I think it's the 7th. I think it's even, I think it's the 7th.
Yeah,
and I noticed too, when I start watching it, they'll give you a little notifier like this show is going off air as of March 7th.
Yeah. So you won't be able to see it there, but as Star Wars fans, as Clone Wars fans, hopefully you have an opportunity to find these episodes other places that you can kind of go and watch them over again, and come to our show. We're kind of a post-game show where we talk about the highlights of the episodes. So join us. Here we go. We're talking about the episode Assassin, and I'm going to read real quick from the encyclopedia, the episode guide. It says, Ahsoka has reoccurring visions of bounty hunter Aura Singh attempting to assassinate Padme. She accompanies Padme to a conference on Alderaan and discovers that Singh is alive and is indeed trying to kill the Naboo senator, but Ahsoka's visions have only shown her what may happen, not how to stop the assassin. So
You know
that
what's
is,
interesting about
yeah.
that? The Force keeps calling out to save Padme's life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
It's
agree.
like the Force really, you know, she's really on the Force's radar.
But you know what I got out of this? You know, the connection with Anakin, you know,
Yeah.
his Padawan, it's
Yep.
starting to fall into Padme as well, you know, because
Yeah.
they're like a tight knit group,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what's funny though? I always thought of like Anakin's Force visions as being planted by Darth Sidious, not so much something that, you know, genuinely came from the Force, or I guess it did because it was
Right.
just the dark side of the Force. But
Mm-hmm.
in this situation, I can't say that I don't know if I would think it came this time it came from Darth Sidious. And I can't say for sure that Anakin's visions came from Darth Sidious per se. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure he had some kind of dealing in there. That story we heard about Palpatine just putting all kinds of dark side feelings and thoughts and everything, killing Padme with the dark side of the
That I
Force.
definitely I subscribe to that
Yeah,
theory because
I
how else
agree
would
with
you
it
know that
too.
Padme died? And you know, he did talk about, you know, with Darth Plagueis and how manipulating life force energies and, you know, keeping things alive, and that he had some of that knowledge. And I do think that he offed Padme and gave her life force to Anakin to keep him going.
Yeah, she would have been a stumbling block, and she's always
Oh God,
being
yeah.
shot at, but we don't know necessarily yet who hired Aura Singh, but we didn't even know Aura Singh was still alive. So
Yeah.
there was always that. So let's jump into this episode. And our fortune cookie says the future has many paths. Choose wisely. What do you think about that?
Yeah, choosing wisely is key. I know I'm pretty pragmatic when it comes to life decisions. I I put a lot of deep thought into everything I do. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I've always made the right decisions, but yeah, I've definitely gone out of my way to attempt to.
Yeah. And I remember in the beginning of this episode, we see Yoda talking to her like she talks to Anakin, basically privately, basically telling her that she's learning about the Force, so she needs to concentrate, meditate, and whatnot after she sees these visions. And we also know from The Empire Strikes Back, he says, "Always in motion is the future." So um, it's really
Yeah, these
hard.
episodes were great
Yeah.
for seeing Ahsoka develop as a Jedi, but also to give us more insight into how the Force works.
Yeah. And these visions, they were almost like nightmares, right? There was even times where she's
Yeah.
sleeping, so it's like Aura Singh is
Oh
like
yeah.
haunting her
Yeah, at one
visions.
point she jumps up in the middle of the night, runs into Padme's room, jumps on Padme's bed,
That's
lights her
right.
lightsaber, and you know.
That's right. So she's definitely having some weird visions and everything. And this is after she had come back from the academy, the mission that she had last week, on Mandalore, where she was basically had to stay behind and give them their report. And Anakin went away for a little while, but she's starting to struggle with that attachment thing pretty much. But before we go on, I just thought sometimes it's fun in customizing that if you just want to do simple head swaps, if you can do that with some of the figures. So the first character I wanted to talk about tonight is Ahsoka, none other than Ahsoka. So you see this picture I'm sharing here?
Oh yeah, I did the same thing that I think you're about to talk about.
Right. So here we have clearly two different head sculpts, right? I don't know if they just made the paint job a little bit different, but I definitely think that this second head is just a little bit different. And
Yeah,
that
I think
is,
the soft eyes help the representation of the character. I felt like
mhm,
that first representation of Ahsoka that's on the right.
mhm,
I think the eyes are just too dark and heavy-handed, where it takes away from the figure.
yeah. So with this, these characters, this is the newer spacesuit Ahsoka. You know, there was an early one
Yep.
that came on the card. This was from the 3-pack, and it was just a little bit more accurate, basically. This head won't necessarily fit on this body as well, but it certainly does fit. So here's an example of all three of the different heads. I know they don't match as much, but at least you have an opportunity, if you so wanted to change out the heads. You know what I'm saying? And that's just popping them right on. You know. So I thought I'd share that real quick. I have 2 Ahsokas in my collection room where I have to have one where she has kind of a different look, and then I call the first look of hers with the heavy eyeliner, just kind of a relaxed look, where the other one's more of an action scene. So that's a simple head swap. I didn't really notice in this light. That's actual sunlight in my studio that's lighting them up there, the color variation on it. But you can certainly repaint them, and it will still have the same effect if you want it to. But
yeah, I think the one all the way on the far right looks the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was the original one from the spacesuit. The pink spacesuit, you know, not the dark maroon one.
Yep.
Where the one in the center is the head from this body that I'm pointing at here with my pointer. But I just thought I'd bring that up. You know, if you're ever just looking to do some quick kit bashes or head swaps and whatnot. And we see Ahsoka, and she's trying to deal with all this stuff. After her master leaves, she's in the library again, and she's trying to maul it all over. You know what I'm saying? She's like, do I grow more attached? How can I be without my master on a regular basis and not feel the way I'm feeling? And why am I having these visions? So she goes into the library to do some studies. And of course she says, you know, I shouldn't be in here. I should be out in the field. Right.
Oh, yeah.
But while we're in the library, you have showed this amazing custom of Jocasta Nu, the librarian, the tough librarian, right? And we thought we would take that time because you said you got a little bit further on her, right?
Yeah, for the longest time I was kind of I tried that. We always talked about, we should just do the Palpatine and then just add some hair to it.
Yeah.
And then once I did that, I realized that it just looked too much like Palpatine and not enough like Jocasta Nu. So I actually went in and I made adjustments. And what I did is I added all sculpting material under the eyes to kind of accentuate those cheekbones. And Palpatine had this really strong, pronounced jawline as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this giant cleft in his chin that I noticed Jocasta Nu didn't have. So I basically sanded that chin away and changed the shape of the chin. And once I did that, I saw just a huge difference. And I had also mentioned that I wanted to like just fix the hair up a bit and just give more of like that wave figure in there. And I noticed she had a pretty pronounced widow peak that I went back in and I added that in. But you can see here how I just went in and just added more form to the hair, and it made a huge difference. And I'm so much happier with her now, and I feel comfortable saying that she's complete. But I did have to make some major adjustments I think I even sanded the top of the head down a bit as well, like the forehead. I think the only thing in there is maybe the lips and the nose is the only parts that I ended up keeping, and everything else ended up being revamped. But I do like the way she came out in the end.
Very nice. Very nice. That is cool. Yeah.
So yeah, if you do
that's a great character.
Palpatine head, I would recommend just doing those adjustments. Like I said, I just added a little bit of sculpt here. I think I hollowed out like in here a bit because his jaw was very pronounced. So I kind of hollowed that out a bit, took the cleft out of the chin, and made it pointier. And it made all the difference. And I just got Jason Laws, one of our viewers, just sent me another Jocasta new figure. So I might make a second one of these.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is that the first time for you to kind of carbon copy what you do?
Yeah, I think tonight the Aura Singh that I'm showing, I did make a carbon copy of her a couple of years ago. There was a little boy, Eli, and there was this big toy push. He had this really rare form of cancer. I want to say that it was like bone marrow or something like that, and um, there was a customizer. I think it was Action Figure Empire. This guy Sam Dan, and he started this toy drive for this kid who was like a huge Star Wars fan. A bunch of people sent him some Star Wars toys, but what we did here at home, I made him the Aura Singh that I'm going to be showing tonight. I made a second one for him, and I actually even put it on a card and everything, and it was on a bubble and it was carded, and I ended up sending a carbon copy of that figure to Eli.
Cool. Very good.
But it's rare that very rare that I make a character twice. It's not something I like to do. I always like to do something I've never done before. I like a challenge, and I get bored if I make the same thing twice.
Right, or three,
and
or
I
four,
always get
or
asked to
five
make the same
times.
thing. Yeah, people are like, "Yeah, you've done I commend you for being able to do that, like the same character many times." Because I'm like, maybe it's because I always feel like I have to have something new and fresh on the blog that no one's seen before. And I lose a whole week if I try to carbon copy something and then I have nothing for the blog, and it just makes my workload that much more intense. And but I always, no one ever asked me to make something I've never made before. They always ask me to make something I've made before, and I'm just not good at it because, I'll get bored out of my skin.
All right, very good. All right, thank you for sharing that. Let's move on. So after she gives her some discs to study, we get kind of and here's an asset of Jocasta. I thought I'd add that in there as well. These are
It looks
always
like they
good.
changed it a bit though, because that looks more hand drawn than it looks animated, like the way they
that was
normally do.
kind of the art of kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the early concept and whatnot, but I just thought I'd throw that in there to really give you an understanding of kind of what we do. We definitely use reference. I don't think I could just go and make something just out of nowhere, but Ahsoka comes in and she's looking at her data viewer there, and look at that. She's checking out people that she's either captured or just people that are known criminals, right?
Yeah, because I didn't even realize that was showing up on there. That's almost. I wonder if they used the same scene that they did for Lightsaber Lost.
Yeah, I
They
bet.
just kind of cut in that same shot to save time and money.
Yeah. And so we find Aura Singh and at the end, and she's like, I'm definitely having dreams and visions of this Aura Singh. And she basically tells the council that she doesn't think she's dead because she thought she was dead. She always has to report to the council. And she said, oh, she's dead. So she realizes that it was Padme in the vision, and Padme is going to be killed. And this is a rare shot you don't get. She's definitely going to some kind of conference, right? Some kind of talk about what was it about exactly that she was going to do on Alderaan?
I know it was important, but so important I missed it too.
Yeah. You know what's cool about it is she mentions Qui-Gon Jinn in it, which is neat.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, but Ahsoka decides to go with her to see if she can get this vision out of her head, to figure out if she can see if it's actually going to happen, if Aura Singh's going to come out of nowhere and like assassinate her. So here is a rare shot of a planet that no longer exists. It is Alderaan. And we got a couple folks that we've seen before. We have Typho over here, and we have 3PO. And I don't think 3PO says a single line because most likely they didn't have Anthony Daniels on the scene, right?
Yeah.
But Typho says a couple things, and I thought I'd share those two at this point. And here's my Typho. I've shared him many, many times. I use we both use the Anakin in the Naboo flight gear disguise. And you can use either head from the Typho. Either works. I think this is the newer one from the Legacy collection. The one
Yeah,
that had.
when I did it, I used the old. I didn't even do it. I think Elias did this one.
Yeah.
The one that we did, but I think he used the other head from what was it?
It's from Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from that line.
Yeah. And moving on to 3PO, this is just kind of a newer 3PO I did. I made him a little bit more gold, and then I got rid of the feature and I actually painted the eyes instead of having that glowy feature. I know that's such a cool thing that they did, where you can kind of look in the back of the head and the light shines through it. You can see kind of the eyes light up, but in this case, I thought he needed a little bit more detail for a kind of an animated figure.
Yeah, I like him better that way.
I thought I'd throw that in there. And here is lovely Alderaan, and they land and everything. And of course, Bail wouldn't be complete without Mon Mothma, right? She's there. She must be a good friend. And here's Padme and Ahsoka again, and they're just basically talking about what's going on in her life. She just needs kind of a big sister or something, or almost like a mother figure, right?
Yeah, what I liked about this episode specifically, there's so many cool lighting features that, like the lighting on the figures. Like I remember there's one scene they show Ahsoka and they have I guess there's blinds in the room and you can see the way the light breaks up, and you can see I guess the impression of the shadow of the blinds on her face, and you look at those mountains in the background. The lighting was done so well in this episode. Yep. I was just blown away at what they were able to accomplish in this.
Yeah, what I really liked about this episode was the fact that Kevin Kiner brought in some of the themes from Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars. We got Leia's theme as they approached Alderaan. Just kind of a sweet little short snippet of Leia's theme, and it touched me a little bit, since we've lost Carrie Fisher, over the past few weeks, but man, I wish Kevin Kiner could do more with the future films. He does such great work. He does it on Clone Wars and did it on Rebels. I love all his stuff, and this was
cool for a while. Do you remember when he released a bunch of those tracks from the Clone Wars for free on his webpage? That was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Is that still available? Do you know?
I haven't checked. It could be. I hope it is. I think I remember downloading it when it did come out. But yeah, I don't even know if it is still available.
Yeah, I would definitely like to find that again. But such great music. But back to the episode here. We know that Aura Singh is going to appear at some point. And this is going to lead us into my next custom. I guess I'll go ahead and share mine first. I know you said you're going to share yours, but I'm going to focus a little bit more on Aura Singh's gun. I really enjoyed, the gun that they had in there. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing the gun?
No, nothing's coming up right now.
Oh, okay. Let me.
Now it is.
Oh, now it is. Okay, good. Okay, so if you're looking here, it's kind of like a spy kind of a thing, where you build the gun, very G.I. Joe-esque or something like that. So I thought it'd be cool to take the time and actually do something like this. If you're looking at this asset here, this is kind of a breakdown of the gun, right? and how it goes in there. I didn't get it perfect, but I tried to do my best into making this a reality. So, and of course, we're seeing kind of a new look for Aura Singh. She has kind of a darker outfit on, kind of Pris from what is it called, Blade Runner, right? With that kind of that stripe across her eyes, right? And she has kind of a little bit more wispy hair and everything. Kind of a cool look, I think. And here is my version, and you're going to share yours also.
Yeah.
I know. I really like the color blue that you put on yours. I didn't necessarily do that same thing. Mine's more of just kind of a bare, kind of a blue. I didn't really put much detail in it. Just kind of just straight blue, with the brown. And so here's the case. If you can see that there, can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
I know it just looks like a pile of stuff, but those are actually the parts that make up the gun. So if you can see that there, all of these little pieces here, they come apart. I believe there's 5 pieces in the gun. And one of the things that I would recommend when building guns or weapons and whatnot, always remember that it's probably going to be the highest density of plastic. So you're probably going to need to like drill some holes in it and like sink part of the plastic into the weapon if you want to build like a new proper weapon. Do you ever have any issues and problems trying to, glue one weapon to another, or one part of a weapon to another?
Yeah, I will do exactly what you say, where you have to do a little bit of drilling to give it the support that it needs.
Yeah.
To assemble properly.
I've even run into that with, like necks and whatnot, like ball joint necks. If I want to actually cut them off, I feel like I need to like literally sink it into the torso a little bit, because it's going to end up breaking. I had something break on me recently, and I'm just like, oh boy, got to build it a little bit stronger. But this was my version of the Aura Sing. Let's check out yours.
Okay, hold on here.
Awesome.
I got to make sure I'm on the right page.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I can share. Let me just where are we? Okay. Share. Application window. Boom. Okay. Now we're up. Okay. So, yeah, I think when I did it, I used like a charcoal gray, and
cool.
I think if I would maybe go back at this point and maybe do like a black wash. This is only like I would say this is only like, it's within the first like maybe 5 or 10 customs that I ever did.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this is really when I first started as a customizer. This is like a low-hanging fruit. It was probably before I did any sculpting, or anything of that nature. I didn't really know how to do it. The only thing I really liked about it, somehow when I painted her face, it almost, like when you hold it, when you look at it, it almost looks like a porcelain doll. I don't know how I did it now, because it's 6 years later. But yeah, somehow like the way I painted her face, she has like a porcelain doll look now.
Neat.
But yeah, I think I used almost like some kind of a purple and a gray mix for the band across her eyes. But and I made sure to thin out that antenna, because I don't know if you remember how bad that antenna was. Remember when they first made it, it looked like a giant ruler coming out of her head?
Basically, yeah.
So I trimmed that down, and then I took like a little piece of plastic, just so you had like the top of the antenna to, to find that out, and I glued that to the top. But yeah, it was just a simple repaint, guys. This is like a great custom for a beginner. If you like saying, oh, I want to try customizing, this is a perfect one to do. The only thing I would say is just hollow out the joints, just so that paint sticks, and when you so you don't get any paint rub and it doesn't go back to the original orange color underneath.
And you use that ball, kind of that tooth ball.
That has all the grooves like cut into it. And then after I use that ball, I take that black nylon brush to just brush away any like chunky like pieces that are just kind of hanging around the edges, just to give that nice smooth appearance.
Yes, indeed.
That you like with your action figures.
That's the same thing I was just talking about different densities of plastic. I guess that's like a top secret thing, or it
Yeah,
used
it's like
to.
a PVC, I think.
Yeah, it used
That
to be at Hasbro. You know, they would always talk about, you know, the different densities of plastic, and for all you molders and casters, you know, I'm sure you guys know, you know, different mixes have to go on to make harder or softer densities in plastic. So
Did
that's
you
why.
boil and pop, did you boil and pop her apart when you painted her? I know I did.
No, I just grind down the joints like we were just talking about, and then
Okay.
I just painted her. I
Okay.
just painted her up. And one thing I did do on mine is I switched out the back, the hair. You know, that's
Oh
the
yeah,
hair.
you did, right? You used the
That
older
yeah,
one?
that's the one from the TVC. The you know
Yeah,
the
that's what I mean.
realistic. Yeah,
The one that came out in the original like the realistic collection.
yeah, the realistic collection. Yeah, I thought that'd be cool to like give it a little bit difference. You know, and
Yeah, that's a good idea.
it was already pre-painted. With all those little braids or little beads that are coming off the back of her hair. I kind of I wanted to do like some extra hair to like flying all over the place. Let me get back to that picture real fast. You see how they're like, there's a couple
Extra
pieces,
strands.
extra strands and whatnot. I kind of wanted to do that. And with the antenna, I just left mine looking like a ruler, but I've even seen people do like a pin coming out of there,
I
you know.
did that. I did that on another one where I
Hmm.
switched it. I used like I had like a almost like a little nail, and I used this small nail because it already had the head on top of the nail, so it was like
Yeah.
the top of antenna. And I just hammered it in and put a little bit of. Then I pulled it out, put a little glue in, and then stuck it back in. And yeah, I switched it out because I remember the ones that came. Was that the Saga collection that she came out in, or I don't remember when they
Power of the
released it.
Jedi. Power of the Jedi.
Was it Power of the Jedi?
That was the first one that came out. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she didn't have an antenna at all. So it's something you had to add in because they never released her with an antenna back,
Mhm.
the first time they released her with the antenna was the Clone Wars line.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. That always nice to hear a little history about collecting
Yeah.
and whatnot. So while she's you know, building this gun and she's found a secret hiding place, she takes a pot shot at Padme, and she actually hits her in the shoulder, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Ahsoka has been meditating, has been practicing, and she ends up trying to go out there again, but she decides to send a Betty Bot out looking like she's under a cloak, like everything is fine. And what she's doing is she's acting as a speaker, right? Like literally a speaker. You know, she's talking from her room basically. Is where Padme is at now.
I love seeing that Rebel Trooper guy over in the right hand corner. That's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
never realized that.
yeah, those are definitely Alderaanian characters
Yeah.
that we see, and they
That's a nice
translate over.
touch.
Yeah,
That's
into
what I love
Rebels,
about the
right?
Clone Wars, how it really bridges the original trilogy to the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, and even Rebels, you know, we see this guy, and he kind of looks like the guy from Rebels too, don't you think?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. So she decides to speak from her room, and nobody knows this except Typho and Ahsoka and Bail, right? So she starts talking about this thing again, and Ahsoka realizes Aurra Singh's not going to take a shot at her again, but she's probably going and looking for Padme, and Ahsoka realizes this, and she catches her in the act, right?
Oh yeah. Just in
Yeah,
time. Her spidey senses were tingling
and the part that
to go right to Padme.
yeah, the thing about this part here is that am I sharing still? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing about this is she's a bounty hunter. She's kind of like that guy last week, the doc guy, you know, the Sadiq, you know. She doesn't have anything to lose because she does a specific service. You know, somebody hires her and she goes out and does the job, right? So So Aura Singh, she's sitting there and she's talking. She's basically saying, this is just business. I was hired by somebody. And she realizes, it probably could be either Newt Gunray or somebody else. There's always somebody who's not happy with Padme, right?
Yeah, she's very vocal. She goes against the grain in the Senate, and with let's just say the corrupt influences within the Senate don't like Padme. She's kind of like a Bernie Sanders or like Elizabeth Warren, or a very
Yeah.
progressive voice, and yeah, not someone they want having a presence, really.
Yeah.
She's a nuisance.
Aura Singh is used to this kind of close combat, so she doesn't really care that she expressed that it was a hired job, that somebody asked her to kill Padme. They're not sure who it is just yet, but that was an important piece of information. And there she is. She goes toe to toe with Ahsoka once again, kind of similar to Lethal Trackdown, and she actually succeeds in nicking Ahsoka this time too, right? Shoots her in the arm.
Oh yeah. and then Padme ends up taking care of her instead.
Yep. I love this look. Look at that look on Aura Singh's face. She's like,
the shock. Like,
oh.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. And what she does is she stuns her, basically, and they get the door open, and they all succeed in thwarting this job that Aura Singh had, and she goes and she's put in jail. But they're all discussing it at the end, and since she feels she succeeded in meditating and learning about these visions that she has, it's a little bit more natural to her, and she realizes that there was more to the dream. She heard laughing, and then she sees purple, right? And then all of a sudden it clicks in Padme that she thinks she knows who hired Aura to kill her. And so they decide they're going to go and visit somebody in this very familiar, well, is it familiar? We just see in Hostage Crisis, we just see this small little part here, right?
Yeah.
But this is the jail, the Coruscant prison, right? And they're going to go and visit somebody there. Who do we think it is?
Oh, we know. Zero.
Yeah, it is. So it's Easter egg time. You spot the Easter egg in here? I got it right away. I don't know what it was, but when I first saw this shot, I got it.
Was it the little droid that Maul used to use on Tatooine?
No, it's not the little droid. It is this area right here. Does it look familiar now? Now that I got it blown up?
No.
That's part of the Death Star too. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Kind of a nice homage to Return of the Jedi. Remember those little red lights are going up in the door when they're going through the elevator? It's kind of that same thing, they have this turbo lift here right in the center of the prison, and everybody else is around, kind of around the area in here. All these little gates are prisons, right? There's all kinds of different assailants in there, but you come up through this turbo lift, and it's reminiscent to Death Star 2. So that is our Easter egg tonight. And we get to the end, and of course, Zero's being himself. He's definitely a colorful character, don't you think?
Oh God, yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Oh, for sure. We have definitely a cool episode with him coming up, but he basically admits that he hired Aura Singh, and
it's a total slip too. It's not like he did it like out of the kindness of his heart. He was like, "Damn, I should have hired somebody else."
Exactly. And they're like, you just bought yourself a whole lot of years up in this place. And we do go and we find out that if you are watching the Clone Wars in order, that this is prior to Hostage Crisis, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how they kind of connect. And that is the end of our episode. Um, I am, of course, Peak Obi-Wan from Peak Obi-Wan Custom Creations. You can find me there on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. And you can also find me on Instagram at Peak Obi-Wan Custom Figures. Where can we find you, sir?
Best place to get me would be over at the Customs for the Kid blog. And I'm you can find me all over social media. Pretty much I put all of the links for the blog or all social media locations right in the sidebar. So you can find us on Facebook, our YouTube channel, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Google Plus as well. And we also have a Pinterest account. But yeah, you go to any of those and that's where you can find us at the Customs for the Kid blog.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. We appreciate you hanging out and joining us for another awesome episode. Have a great night.
Take care, everybody. May the force be with you.